Ooh.
Hey, I'm Alex Macklin from Board Game Co. And this is top 10 spooky games.
And this is the top 10 spooky games?
Or is it Halloween games? Spooky games? What is the genre here?
Games. I think
this is your idea. You get to pick.
Games for spooky season.
This is the top 10 games for spooky season.
That's
apparently.
not what the title is going to be.
What's the title going to be?
I'm not sure.
This is a video of top 10 games we're not sure. This is basically going to be spooky, Halloween, some sort of genre or variant thereof. Now, I don't know about you. We both have a list of 10 games. We're going to go through this. I ordered mine based on not how good the game is, but what I think is the most appropriate for spooky season.
That is also what I did. I was going to disclaimer. It may not be the same order that I would do in, like, say, my top 100.
Yeah.
This is the order for the intended purpose of enjoying
We're ordering
the
it thematically.
Yeah.
Not even... At least in my case, it's specifically the order that I would be inclined to play these games because it's...
That's what I said, for enjoying the season.
Yeah, that's the order.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We're going to go ahead and dive into this. We'll have timestamps, of course, to everything down below. And I should note, I don't know about you, I have 9 of these games. And the 10th one I don't have, and I kind of wish I did.
The 10th one I have, but I didn't have a way to bring it.
I don't. It's a game I used to have, and this list reminded me that I need to get it back because my kids would love it.
Yeah.
They used to, way back when. Anyways, top 10. Let's go ahead and dive into this, starting off with number 10. Meg, I should start off with number 10?
Yeah, why don't you start?
I'll start with number 10. This is a little borderline. We got...
Should we judge each other's choices?
Absolutely. It's so much fun. Le Fantôme d'Opera over here.
Oh, this is one I've wanted to play. I haven't played it.
Well, it's spooky season coming up.
I think it's time.
Le Fantôme d'Opera. This is basically the Phantom of the Opera. You basically have the theme of the Phantom Opera. Someone's making noises and dropping chandeliers and doing all that kind of stuff, and you're trying to figure out who that person is. You have 8 suspects who all live in the theater in different ways, and you're trying to figure out or live or work in the theater, and one player is trying to figure out who is the Phantom. The other player, the Phantom, is trying to keep their identity a secret throughout the course of the game. It has that slight spookiness vibe. It has elements where, like, if the Phantom manages to remain hidden, they get to keep on moving faster towards the escape track, keeping it out of the range of the investigator. Again, it's been in my collection for years. It's based on the Mr. Jack series of games, and this is my favorite version of it.
And you usually play it at 2-player?
2. You only play it at 2 players. This is a 2-player
That's
only.
what it sounded like.
This is before the age of having 1 to 2 players. There's no solo mode. This is a 2-player only game. That's it. Other players are spectators.
Okay. Well, I would like to play that.
So I guess that's a good grade.
Yeah, I'm not ready
to... grade.
I'm not ready to start.
What are the rating scales we're giving out judging others' choices?
I don't know.
Yay, nay, maybe?
I haven't played this one, so I won't judge it.
Well.
We'll judge if we've played them, but this one I can't really judge. You're going to judge mine. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
My number 10.
I'm going to move the cat out of the way.
Meow. My number 10 is the Snallygaster Situation. Now, disclaimer, all of my games are just my covers because I had to bring them. But this is Snallygaster Situation, and this is one where it has 4 different things that you're encountering. There's things like Bloody Mary and the Snallygaster, and you're playing as these kids in this neighborhood, and it's different modules every time. So you're playing through really thematic stories, but all of the different characters that you play through, the different, I don't want to say bosses, but like the different things you encounter, like Bloody Mary, they all have like long sheets where you read a lot of it, and it is pretty scary and spooky that I think for theme and like a very creepy night, it's a very good choice.
It's good. I played it once. It is spooky-ish. I wouldn't put it lower down the list. I think it's a decent top list.
Right. I was trying to find ones that had like a lot of actual flavor and like horror, and I think this one does have that, and it shines where maybe the mechanics aren't the best. I still always love the experience. So, Snallygaster Situation.
Now, are we taking bets on how many of these games? Because I know I have at least one.
Are we trying to leave these in frame like we do sometimes?
Sometimes. We start off the way. We'll see how crowded the table gets. But are we taking bets on how many games one of us will pull up that the other one goes, oh, that should have been on my list?
I don't know. I think I have some that are like that.
I have at least one. Almost guaranteed. My number 1 pick should be like that.
We'll see.
Anyways.
There's, I think, at least one that and this might be what you're thinking. Actually, there are 2 that I did not pick thinking you would pick them.
Oh, I didn't do that at all.
I don't know if I should disclaimer that, but there's specifically 2, and I'll say when they come up, that I did not pick just assuming you were going to do it.
My number 9 is Jekyll versus Hyde.
I have not played that one yet.
It's a 2-player trick-taking game that is pretty well done. You basically have Jekyll, or I always forget, it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Hyde is going for instability, Jekyll's going for balance, and so the game is about effectively the Jekyll player who wants the Hyde player who wants instability in this game is trying to ensure, because you know in trick-taking games you often bid, I want to win 4 tricks, I want to win 2 tricks. That's not how this works. Hyde benefits from the disparity of tricks. So in other words, Hyde will ideally want Jekyll to win either. Let's say if you as Jekyll win 7 and I win 2, that's good. It's a disparity of 5.
Right.
If you win 4 and 4, that's
cool.
balanced.
I like that.
So the more balanced it is, the more balanced that Jekyll, the more balanced that Dr. Jekyll can keep it, the less Hyde goes completely uncontrolled. And the more imbalanced Hyde
That's
keeps
cool.
it, it's a cool. And plus some abilities in other cards, but even the central premise, it's because it's
Every
not about.
time we do this, we're like, we should play this.
Yeah, after this. This could literally be, these should both be after this.
Yeah.
But it's got some abilities, some trade-off of when you're activating things, but the core premise even of not necessarily predicting or bidding the amount of tricks you want, but knowing that as you start playing, you're like, I either want to win very little or very many, but not anything else.
Balance.
Very solid game. I like it.
My number 9
Yeah.
is a well-known oldie but goodie, Letters from Whitechapel.
This is a good choice.
Yeah, I thought this one is very good, especially for this season, because it's a game with hidden information where, I don't love the theme, but we'll talk about it. You're playing as Jack the Ripper, and, so you're playing one person's Jack the Ripper, and the other person is, like, you can play with more people, but it's best at 2. But the other people are all the detectives that are trying to investigate where he is, figure out where he's moving, and try to stop him before he kills too many people. I don't know if you should bleep that on here.
No. Unalives? Is that the
Unalives.
YouTube thing?
Yeah.
The YouTube
Too many
thing.
people. So yeah, it's a really clever game where you're getting some bits of information, and as Jack, you're trying to really maneuver around and catch these different girls before you get caught. And I think it does have a lot of tension at the table. Like as you're uncovering things and trying to figure out the closer and closer that you're getting, I think that both players, no matter what side of the table you're on, you're kind of getting that anxiety of like, oh, they're getting me, or oh, I'm getting away with it. So yeah, I think that it's one that it simulates kind of like that adrenaline going really well.
There are a bunch of hidden movement games that I debated. Like, there's a lot. Like, even Fury of Dracula, which isn't my favorite. I haven't played it yet. I need to play Fury of Dracula. But there's a lot of hidden movement games that fit into this spooky season, but none of them made my cut. At least I don't think so. My number 8. My number 8 is, let me see which one I'm going with. My number 8 is Siliconvania.
That one I haven't played. This is all like
There's going to be a decent amount of these that you haven't played.
I feel like I've never even seen these.
I think the rest of them you're probably familiar with. This is the extent that you're not familiar with. Siliconvania, this one is only higher up because it's a slightly cartoonish theme that takes a little bit away from the spookiness. But past that, it's vampires and werewolves and monsters. It's your classic monster situation.
Oh my.
In the game, exactly. In the game, and it's also illustrated by, what's it called? The Micho, in a very, horror theme. But again, Siliconvania is like Transylvania and Silicon Valley, and Siliconvania is high-tech vampires, so a little bit of a weird theme. But ultimately, this is give you a solid point-scoring optimization game where you're trying to do a bunch of things as far as the tiles you're gathering and to put it into your grid in different ways, but you're also drafting these cards, and the cards score, the cards give you scoring criteria. There's a fun little sequence of trying to balance everything the game offers while trying to figure out how to score as many points as possible. I have a few small nitpicky complaints about it, but it is a very satisfying point-scoring game from the WizKids. I like it.
Nice.
You're number 8.
My number 8 is going to be an oldie but a goodie, but then a little bit different. It's just going to be Patchwork the Halloween edition. So this is one that, again, we're going for the vibes. If this is for Halloween season and you just want something light, easy to play, maybe you're giving out candy that night and you want something that you can come back and go to at the table, it's just Patchwork, which, if you don't know Patchwork, it's a polyomino game for 2 players where you're going back and forth picking different polyominoes to put into your quilt that are all different patches, and you're fitting them together trying to get different points. But in regular Patchwork, you're getting buttons, and in this one, do you know what you're getting, Alex?
Bats?
Eyeballs. You're collecting eyeballs. So yeah, there they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, Halloween Patchwork, I just highly recommend if you really like Halloween and you enjoy Patchwork. If you don't have a copy, this is my only copy of Patchwork, and I just chose this for that kind of a pattern.
I would easily have put this on my list because it is so appropriate for this, but I don't own it, so no regrets on my end so far.
Yeah.
My number 7. My number 7 is, which one is 7 over here? I think let's go with, I've been debating with which one of these two takes the earlier pick.
Uh-oh.
It's just they're both similar-ish, and I don't know which one I feel is more. I'll go with this one. Okay, we're going to go with number 7 over here. My number 6 will be, we'll see. Number 7 is Resident Evil. Resident Evil, this is Resident Evil, the board game, so it's the third
really
one in the
choice.
series and the first one. Yeah, this is good. Resident Evil is coming from Steamforged Games, and I have a surprising mix of smaller, lighter games and then just big dungeon crawler type stuff. But Resident Evil, no spoilers to the list, of course. Resident Evil over here is based on Resident Evil. Is it a movie first? No, it's a video game first. Video game first, movie and board game apparently as well.
I think it's a comic too.
Is it?
I think it was after,
But basically, you're going to be playing as the various operatives in the Resident Evil world, and you just have all these zombies heading towards you of different kinds, like these, not really zombies so much as infected. They're like the infected from the Umbrella something, the Umbrella Corporation.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, I should have put Umbrella on this list because of Umbrella. No. But this
No.
one is...
That's a horror game for a different reason.
Oh, I forgot my joke. I had a joke planned. My number 10 was going to be Unsleeved Dominion.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
I forgot my joke.
You should have done as one.
I still could. Resident Evil, yeah, but basically, I like this one a lot. I think it's a very solid game of trying to stay alive, and it really managed to maintain that feel of overwhelming odds against you while feeling like you're low on ammunition the entire time. You're operating with limited resources. You're trying to run away and fight at the same time. It really is going to give you a good vibe if you play this one, and I really like it, and I want to play more of it.
Yeah, this one I haven't played, but I've watched it played.
No, you've watched.
And
no.
it is...
You've watched Resident Evil 3.
Oh.
This is Resident Evil, the board game. So slightly different. Same basic concept, but one of the key differences offhand is this one, the map, is, as you open doors, you lay out the map. The map doesn't exist when you start the game.
Okay.
So it's just that extra, it's
Great.
all the
Great.
horror of the original, but you don't even know where you're going.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, there's 2 doors. And then
Great.
you open it and you draw from the map card and you're like, the specific layouts, it's an extra level.
Fun. Okay. My next one.
Imagine running from monsters that are chasing you, bosses that you can't kill.
And you don't know where you're
and
going.
you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
I don't know if I would actually play that.
It's fun.
I actually
fun.
sound a little too
It's
scared
fun.
to play that.
It is horrifying in the best way.
My
Light
number
some
7.
candles, turn down the lights. This is I want to do this. You
No.
know, this is going to be higher up on the list next time we do this list. Your 7, yes.
My number 7 is Dead of Winter. This is an oldie but a goodie, so I'm not going to talk too much about it because this is a pretty old game at this point. It might even be, I think, over 10 years old. But this is a game by Plaid Hat Games with their Crossroads system. I think it was the first time they did their Crossroads system. And it's basically a zombie survival game. It's co-op. There is a traitor mechanic depending on the number of players you have. But I tend to play at a low enough player count that I don't use the traitor. But you are running around fighting off these different zombies, trying to survive. There's this survival die where the zombies can just automatically kill you, but they overwhelm you basically from the beginning. And it's more of a game about trying to meet different goals and manage what's happening and not killing all of the zombies because that's not really something that's plausible. But yeah, it's definitely very spooky, but the thing I love the most is the Crossroads system, which is when specific things happen. So at the start of any player's turn, someone will check a card, and if a specific thing triggers, then that card will be read. And it's things that are absolutely nuts, like there's a dog in the game named Sparky, and there are things where it's like if Sparky goes to the police station on that specific turn, and then it will happen, and it just feels really, really thematic and adds a lot more like flavor to the game. But it's also very difficult and overwhelming that your people will die. You won't be able to feed them. Zombies are going to break into your place. It's overwhelming and scary both mechanically, and it adds a lot of flavor.
Nice. A good choice. Not a game for me personally, but a good choice for the theme.
I enjoy this one.
My number 6 is 6, I believe. My number 6 is, if I can find it here, I got a picture.
Just covers. I don't know if I can stack. I think I gotta stop here.
My number 6 is one that I had once upon a time, and I want to get back now that my kids are older and would totally love playing this. But it's a game called Ghost Blitz, or Geist Blitzen, depending on the version you have. But the basic idea, I'll kind of try to show you this. I don't know how well you can see, probably not. It's probably very, very bright. You have to look up, but I'll show you. You see these cards over here? So you draw a card, and you do this rapid fire. You have 5 objects around the table, and you draw a card in rapid fire. The problem is the cards might show, for example, that one shows a white bottle, but the bottle's green, and a gray mouse. So you have to grab the gray mouse quickly as possible. But when you drop this, do you grab the ghost, or do you grab the bottle?
Oh, gosh.
You grab the bottle.
Yeah.
It's a speed game where it's showing you the colors and objects, and you have to know whether to grab nothing, because it's often like, if nothing matches, you have to do something specific, and if something does match, you have to draw the one that matches. But you're going for a visual recognition of objects while being confused by the colors matching the objects, and it's just a fast, frenetic, fast-paced little party game experience. Very light, very simple, very stupid. My kids would love it. We're playing a lot of Steal the Bacon and, Taco Goat Cheese Pizza. Very much in that vibe of games.
That's great for parties.
Yeah, it's great.
Parties they need light things like that are just very light rules and not much for people to focus on. Yeah.
Anyways, to you. Number 6.
All right, my number 6 I would actually love to play very soon, and that's going to be My Father's Work.
This is a good one. I haven't played it. This is a good one to pick.
This is a good
one to pick.
My Father's Work is a really... it's a long game that's extremely thematic. It is a bit app-based where an app is going to run you through it, but you are tableau building with your own little... I don't want to say it's a castle. It's not a laboratory. It's like just your own... It's your family house, and you basically live through 3 generations with a journal from your crazy father, and you were also like a mad scientist, and you were just making these potions, and it's very involved with the different things that happen, both like in the town, and there are choices that you make that the app basically runs you through a narrative every chapter every time you go to like the next generation, and it sounds really abstract when I say that, but it can be really, really detailed, and it is a long game. It can take you like 3.5 hours to play, but both what you're building at the personally, even if you're being beat in the game, I found the personal puzzle of what I was doing to be really, really fun, and then hearing these crazy stories that this game is spitting out at you, I think it was one of like the most odd and spooky and strange things that I've had happen narratively.
Interesting.
Yeah. My Father's Work.
I want to play it for years.
I would, honestly, it would be great if we could play it this spooky season.
Well, we have 20 games on the homework list.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Some of them played.
Yeah.
My number 5. Did I do 6 so far? I did 5. Up to 5. My number 5 is the one that I was debating between the order of Resident Evil or that one. And in hindsight, I think Resident Evil should have been lower down. But I could be wrong. Maybe if I spend a minute talking about this next one, I'll change my mind again.
Let's change it.
My number 5 is my only box cover over here, and that is The Witcher Old World. The Witcher Old World is not typically a spooky, which is why I'm torn on where this one goes. But you are spending the entire game immersed in a dark fantasy theme where you are effectively hunting monsters, or depending on which expansions you're playing, the monsters is not so nice hunting you. So it is. I think I should have swapped this with Resident Evil, but you know that now. But it is still going to maintain that general monster hunting gloom vibe, but not necessarily as frenetically terrifying as Resident Evil can be, which is why this one. It's got swapped around. That's my number 5 on this list.
If we were in Halloween costumes and you were dressed as Geralt, then I would say that the ordering makes sense.
I agree. That costume would be bad. It would be so scary. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be scary.
It'd be scary.
All right. Moving on. Are we ready?
Yeah.
My number 5. I might not be able to reach. Give me a second. My number 5 is Harrow County. Now, Harrow County, the theme is extremely horror. The gameplay isn't really that scary, and some of the games I've mentioned, they add like a lot of tension that actually has you like scared as you're playing. Harrow County doesn't do that. It's very tactical where you're thinking about what you're doing the whole time, but the theme is very scary. This was a comic book series that I read first, and it's all about this girl who is able to speak to haints, which are like spirits in her town, and they're all affecting her, I guess I'll just say that. So you're playing through like the different chapters in the game that are all very thematic to the comics, and it definitely pulls you through the story.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Very scary story, very spooky, very dark.
There's like things you're putting in sculpts' heads at different points. It's a little intense.
And mechanically, something that's fun is there's this tree here, and I just have the cover with me, but there is actually a dice tower inside of the box that you use that to roll different things for a mechanic. So it is very spooky, and like it has a lot of table presence.
My number 4 is the smallest game on the list over here, and that's going to be Skulls of Sedlec. Skulls of Sedlec is a delightful, charming little 2-player drafting game where you can play with more players if you add expansion packs and things. But the basic idea is you're gathering these cards and trying to lay out a little tower of various skulls in different ways. They're all thematically skulls. There's the lover skulls and the priest skulls and the prisoner skulls and the royal skulls, and the peasant skulls, and all that and more. And it's all about how they each score, and so you're drafting these cards trying to figure out how to lay them out so they score as optimally as possible. It's basically just scoring optimization, but in a small little travel size thing, and a delightful little theme because the theme is literally based off of digging up graveyards and reburying them based on in Sedlec that happened, and so now you're just doing that you're just doing that for points now, so it's a little darker in that sense.
It's a fun one. It's a good one. Alright, next up is... And I love how I was like, I'm going to brag on your games, and I have not really that much. Except that I do agree that The Witcher is not.
The Witcher...
It is monsters. I would have put it lower.
That's what I think.
Resident Evil should be...
No, I am thinking The Witcher should have been possibly... Honestly, there's a possibility that The Witcher should have been my number 10. But I do like it. I didn't want to take off the list. I had more than 10 games for context, and I didn't want to take The Witcher off. But it should have been lower.
Okay. My number 4 is... Terrorscape.
Ooh.
Now this is a expansion
That's
box.
expansion, yeah.
So this is just that to, if you have seen Terrorscape and you think it should be much bigger in my arms. But Terrorscape, I think, is... How do I describe this game, Alex? First of all, it's multiple roles where people are playing as investigators that are inside
It's a hidden movement game.
Yes, it's a hidden movement game where you're playing against a killer and investigators. But you, in the game, it's very spooky that you don't know exactly what the killers are doing, and the roles will change depending on which one you're playing as. So there are some that you never see throughout the whole game, and they can just kind of like show up and be doing things to you, whereas some of them are kind of loud and come into the room and you know exactly what they do, but they hit like a truck. And I think this game, there are some things... It's not the smoothest, I think. I do really enjoy it, but I don't know if I love the game. But I think for the theme, and especially for the time of year, it is... Because I don't want to say it's perfect, but it's perfect for this time of year.
It's a good game, generally well received. It's not my favorite hidden movement game, but I agree with you that the theme, if you're going for theme...
Yeah, if it's October 31st and you're like, what game should we play? We have the time. Terrorscape. Great choice.
My number 3... Just throw in the order. I'm going to go with my number 3 in this order.
I'm just going to start leaving these here now.
Sure. It's gonna get that spot's gonna get very busy very quickly because my number 3 is Cthulhu: Death May Die.
This was the one that I did not put on my list because I thought you would.
It's making it on my list, but there's another one. You said there's 2.
Yes.
What's the other one? Don't tell me the other
I'll
one.
tell you when it comes, just like how I did now.
I hate you if you're so certain. Anyways.
I think it's probably gonna be your number 1. Maybe.
It might be my number 2. Depends.
Okay.
Anyways, this one over here, Cthulhu: Death May Die. This is a delightful game with a horror theme and running through. Again, I do think Resident Evil is probably more horror in the feeling you're going to have. This is probably more horror in the theme, and this one's my better game, so that's why this one is higher up over here. I love Cthulhu: Death May Die. I will always happily play Cthulhu: Death May Die. The expansion, literally called Fear of the Unknown, is arriving soon. It's arriving soon. I'm going to be playing through that and going through more seasons 3 and 4 and more Cthulhu: Death May Die. This is a great game and a great theme, and it's definitely a horror, even if it's not scary as you're actually playing it. Cthulhu: Death May Die. Definitely recommend this one.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in because I almost grabbed this one, and I just assumed you would, so I didn't grab it for my list, but I think it's just such a good choice for... I just love Arkham games this time of year. I love Arkham games this time of year.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to my number 3. Ooh. Vagrantsong.
Another good choice.
Vagrantsong is great for this time of year. And it's also great in general. I think this one's a great choice, regardless if you enjoy both boss battlers and campaign games. We're just going to cover Terrorscape for a minute. This is, like I just said, a campaign game boss battler, and the art style is kind of like that old Mickey Mouse kind of ish, like ink style, and it is very scary. It is a boss battler. A lot of the mechanics are very straightforward. You're going to be working on a lot of health with all of your different characters, and they all do feel pretty unique, but you're using different things like candles, and you are closing off things like coffins, and there is a lot of flavor in this game throughout the campaign, and there are things that I had to walk away from the table while hearing. Now, I am very squeamish, but there are a few things that were just...
Too much?
Icky. It was an icky ghost. Okay? But also it's kind of nice that what you're actually trying to do is you're going car by car through this train, and you're trying to restore humanity to these different ghosts. So the thought of it is you're kind of trying to let them pass on, and you're doing something nice to them while going through this story.
I always love the concept of that in the game, although I always find it fascinating how, like, you're hitting them and restoring their humanity. Like, I got a new weapon! I restore more humanity when I hit you, which is a little interesting. But the idea is nice. But it's a great game.
Yeah, it's very
Great
fun.
choice. My number 2 is a small box game again. This might be the one you have in mind. I don't know. But it's One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
No.
It's my number 1. You know my number 1.
I knew it was number 1.
I know you're number 1.
Well, everybody does.
And I know you're number 2, so haha. Number 2 over here is One Night Ultimate Werewolf, Daybreak over here. This one I will note, I will give a special honorable mention over here to Blood on the Clock Tower, which is not in this list. But if you like Blood on the Clock Tower, or if you like hidden role games, that's a very popular, very thematic game that's worth checking out. It's not my favorite in the genre. My favorite in the genre is probably One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak. this is an excellent game. It's going to have players in an 8-minute round playing as various werewolves and ghosts and various different things in the game in order to figure out who's actually moving things around at night and who's trying to kill who, as you deduce your role and the other roles at the table, operating as the witch and the seer and the wolf and the minions and all these various things, and the hunters and the soldiers. I can't remember all the rules. There's a lot of rules because I have all the games mixed into this box. A delightful game, and
Prove you know the game. Prove you've played it. Name them all. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Everyone,
no.
Close your eyes. Anyways, it's a great game. It's a great game. I definitely recommend checking it out.
Okay, we are at 2.
Number 2.
Okay, sadly, number 2 is the one that I don't have here with me. It's because I have it in a big old briefcase and I left it at home, but it's Arkham Horror, the LCG. Y'all, this game is so scary.
You yelled, everyone.
Y'all, this game is so scary, okay? It has things that happen that when I hear them, I will start going, no, no, no. Like, I can't really pull up examples out of my brain.
Prove you know the game.
But it's very narrated, and it has a lot of things that happen that are very scary, and you get so invested because it is a campaign game that you're playing through these different chapters, so you're getting to know the different things that are happening around, like, the different towns and the stories that you're playing in. So you really get an understanding of, like, what is happening and what this bad thing is, and that I think the amount of time that the game spends with you allows it to really escalate to something really scary that you care about, and you really feel like you're being attacked and dying as these different things are happening. But yeah, I think super scary, really love it, really clean gameplay, and it's also a game that is pretty punishing, where it will try to kill you, and there are often times where you are not sure you're going to make it out alive, and I really enjoy that. And before we go, because I just really love this game, I love the memory that the game has. There are so many specific instances that aren't just gameplay things that you do that you unlock, but there are things that you can do, like remembering if you stop to have a drink, or if you talk to a certain person, or the people that you interacted with. So yeah, I really love how they do the memory in that game as a campaign game. Really spooky.
What's my number 1?
It's sorry, I'm still thinking about Arkham Horror. It's so good. It's the one with candy. It's about this big. You get candy. Meadows, Dreadful Meadows.
Dreadful Meadows is my number 1 pick over here. I was so surprised you didn't put this on your list because
I knew you were going to. I knew you would.
This is a fun game. It's quick
This
to
was
learn.
the only game that you had that was like Halloween themed.
Well,
and then I was like, oh no, he has Cthulhu.
I have a lot of things that are spooky.
I think we should do a recap after this.
A recap? Okay.
Yeah, we usually stop after them. Guys, we're gonna do a discussion after.
Dreadful Meadows is it's adorable, it's easy to teach, it's easy to play, plays quickly enough, gives you a fun little tableau game, and of course it is Halloween themed. It is on the cutesy side, so if you're really looking for the horror, this would be lower down. But like this was like my first thought when Meg suggested doing a spooky like Halloween themed game list. I was like, this is my first thought, and then from there I realized, like at first I was like, maybe we'll do a top 5. I don't know if I have 10, and then I got to like 15 or 20. Like I got to a lot of games that I was like, I can totally see myself playing this. And there were some more special mentions. There's a lot of games. There's a lot of games that are spooky out there. And a lot of unsleeved games. Again, that joke that I didn't make.
Honestly, I've been saying this a lot. I think this one has a solo mode, correct?
It does. I
think I played it online, but I haven't played it in person, so that might be really fun to do.
After this! It's a good game. I like it. I like it. But yeah. Anyways, that's my number 1 pick. And your number 1 is?
Final Girl!
Final Girl?
Final Girl! This game is so scary! So this is a game where you are playing solo against a killer. You're playing against a killer, but you also have other survivors that you are trying to keep alive. You're moving around a map, and it's basically the entire game is a card management system where you are using the cards that you have in your hand and using that to purchase, well no, you're using that to use all of your actions, and then you use your remaining time to purchase new cards, but there's kind of a cycle where any cards that you used can't be purchased until the next round. So you're kind of pacing yourself with what cards are available when and how you're moving throughout the game. And on top of that, these killers are going to have these different things that are happening, and the location that you play in also has different events that can happen. So there's just a whole lot that is thrown at you, and if you know the Final Girl series, there is a whole bunch that you can mix and match between the different killers and locations that you're playing in. But it can be very difficult. It's a bit luck based because a lot of your checks, or all of your checks, are made with die rolls. So that can really add a surprise element of what might happen to you. But yeah, there are some that are absolutely brutal that will kill you immediately, and there are some that you can do a bit better against. But yeah. It's perfect for this time of year. And you know what, Alex?
What, Meg?
Because I think I know when this video is going up.
It's going up tomorrow, but that's complicated for you. But yes, go ahead.
I'll be playing Final Girl on Friday, this upcoming Friday, the 13th. I haven't played for a bit, but I'll be back again because it's Friday the 13th, so...
There's a link to your YouTube channel down below. She'll be streaming Final Girl Friday. This Friday, probably. Yep.
Yeah, so those are our top 20 horror, spooky, scary games.
Is the recap which of these we're actually going to try to table?
Or I was going to say, I'm
people
really
this
surprised
weekend.
with your choices because something that I almost chose and didn't because I assumed you might have was any of the Zombicide games.
No.
Because again, those have like the fear aspect going
So-
where things are escalating on you and they're zombies and it's a scary theme.
I did look at them. The
They're
problem
dead.
is they're dead. They're undead. But I technically have zombies covered in Resident Evil, and that's scarier in theme. And I think Cthulhu leans a bit more into the horror as an actual theme. And I love the monsters in The Witcher. For me, Zombicide doesn't like. I'd choose any of these over Zombicide.
Alex, I'm
for
not
spooky.
gonna brag on you, but you showed me like a kid's game that was.
Yeah. What's the problem with that?
I would put in Zombicide over that.
I don't think of Zombicide as spooky season. You might. I don't think of it as spooky season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have plenty of miniatures on the table as it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then for me, I just want to say too, any of the Arkhams are worth it. Well, I would say Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, Eldritch Horror, then maybe Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. But if you don't have the LCG, but any of those, I kind of said it, but there is like the whole bubble of the Arkhams.
See, now I'm trying to remember which ones I took off the list, because I had like 10. One, okay, so one that was on my list that I was debating, because I limited it to only 3 dungeon crawlers, because I had too many. Well, that's not true. The Witcher's not a dungeon crawler. It's an adventure game. But one that I did have on the list that I wasn't sure, but I already had Cthulhu, was Machina Arcana. Machina Arcana is amazing. It is terrifying. Honestly, it combines Resident Evil and Cthulhu in the sense that you have the tense running away and trying to like desperately stay alive, but also combines the eldritch lore of Cthulhu After We Die. I wanted to put it on the list. I just had too many of those adjacent-ish, but that's a good one. That's a good one.
I almost said Mythic Mischief too. Because
That's
the
a
factions,
good one.
like Halloween, I know I almost said Mythic Mischief.
Replace the kids game. Put Mythic Mischief in.
There you go.
What? How did I miss Mythic Mischief?
I almost did it, but I didn't.
It's because it's on the shelf behind the games.
Honestly, I didn't want to have to bring mine, so that's why I did it. Sorry, IB Studio.
Mythic Mischief. Okay, replace the ghost Blitz and put Mythic Mischief in there, because that is.
It's a good one.
We'll just refilm the video. Start again.
Ready?
We'll just scratch it. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
also, another shout out, Three Sisters. I almost grabbed that because it's about pumpkins.
I wouldn't go there.
I know. It didn't make the cut.
Yeah. Anyways, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
I'm Professor Meg.
Until next time.
Bye.
Speaking of which, shout out to Boop Halloween edition.
Boop.